Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the Blood Death Knight, and it's looking pretty good. As you can see, everything seems to still be playing about the same. What are the changes? Well, not a lot. Really, there's not a lot. You're still using Death and Decay. The main biggest change is your Bone Shield. Instead of just being a fire and forget, push the button just to make sure you got the stacks up and go, they've added an extra ability. It's called Morrowind. And what this ability does is whenever you hit it, it has a chance to put 3 to 5 additional Bone Shields onto your target. That's what they end up generating. And you can see the stacks up there. You can actually see the stacks built up on the buttons also. It's an amazingly overpowered class right now, and you'll see a lot of the difference coming up real soon on how well this thing's really playing. Your artifact weapon, basically what it is a death strike, but it's an AoE death strike. With your artifact weapon, the way it acts on bigger trash pulls, if you're almost like going to die, this thing will literally heal you all the way to the top. If you're tanking 2 to 3 mobs, it's such an amazing heal. Single target, it's not as great as what you would think, but it still does more than what a normal death strike would. The playstyle on this, guys, boss fights, didn't have a single problem with boss fights, and I did end up doing both level 100 and 110 dungeons just to test it out and see where the difference was. And we'll get into the 110 play here in just a second, but at level 100, it is absolutely overpowered. Most of the tanks I was on, these little wolves hit so hard that if you ended up actually pulling one of them with the boss, it was, unless you had a pretty good healer, you were gonna die. There was a lot of extra healing on the Vengeance Demon Hunter when I did it. The Brewmaster Monk would have already been flat on its face. By far, not as overtuned as Blizzard thought they were going to be, but the extra healing, the thing about Blood Death Knights is they've always had this bonus healing, this extra that made them ungodly. Every single pull in the logs that I ended up testing, I do not note the logs, by the way, because it is still in tuning. But everything that I tested with this guy, I had about 50% of what the healers had on every single pull, and some pulls I was either matching them on heals or I was further just on the single target heals. Now you can see right here, basic Blood Death Knight situation. Priest is dead. Guess what, guys? DK is not dead, and DK does not want to die. This Blood DK don't take no crap from nobody. You know what I'm saying, man? Alright. But yeah, the self-healing's insane. You'll see I ended up using Mark of Blood. That Mark of Blood, it puts a stack on him, and it just, every time the boss hits you, basically, instead of doing additional damage, they're healing you for more damage than they're doing. It's insane. It's a fun ability. I decided to go with it, even with the 3-minute cooldown over what my original choice was in the artifact video, and it was fun. It helped out quite a bit in not only questing, but in these dungeons it was a lifesaver. And you'll see, we're going to get this boss down with the healer down and another DPS either way. Fun fight, guys. This is going to be another testament of it. Now, this is at level 100. We do have the artifact weapon, but most of our items are at level 680. I think with the artifact weapon being 750, and here it is again, you'll see that the priest is still there giving me some heals popped up, but no one knew the mechanic about the shield, so we had some deaths. Now, you'll see that the shaman there was like, oh, just wipe it. No. Me and this mage had better plans, guys. With this being said on how powerful this is, gameplay's still the same. Death Strike still adds a good shield. It still ends up adding good healing. With the mechanic of Morrowind in there to give you an extra button to play into, it's really nice. But with all this being said, this right here, what you're seeing, should never happen. This is broken beyond belief. This is, again, artifact gear and 680 item level stuff. I think it balances out to like 686 item level because the artifact's 750. This should never happen. You should never take a boss from more than half health with 1 DPS and a tank and just destroy it. intro level gear. I mean, this is intro level. This is normal. This is level 100. But come on, that's insane. Now we'll go to the 100 or the 110 side, and we'll give you a little bit of a different look at it. The healer in this one was a little on the weak side. He did admit at the beginning that it was his first dungeon with it, so no problems there. But again, same difference here. Guys, there was like no damage issues whatsoever. The only problem I had, and you'll see it here, is this hunter. Hunters are broken right now on the alpha. Hunters, I think, will always be broken. Plus, he had way more artifact power, and he admitted that one later on also than what everyone else did. He had been working on this in the alpha for quite some time, and you'll see I have trouble picking it up. The damage on Death Knights at level 110 right now is stupid low. Absolutely low. Even if you do, basically, if you throw D&D down and you hit Morrowind, it basically hits every mob in your Death and Decay for the same damage. It's an insane AoE ability, and I couldn't hold it. I could not hold it off of this this hunter. That is a huge issue with threat. I mean, doing everything possible, even on 2 targets, he would switch over to the other one for some damn reason, and I'd just lose threat. It'd be gone. I couldn't do enough damage to hold threat in this spec. That is a huge issue to me. This is the first tank that I've done. I still have Prot Warrior and I still have Prot Pally to do to completely test this, but that was a huge issue for me. Did not have that issue with Monk as much. There was certain times where I messed up with pulls, and I definitely did not have that problem with the Vengeance Demon Hunter. The Vengeance Demon Hunter was by far way more threat than what this was, but it seemed like every other pull I could not for the life of me unless I got misdirected, which misdirection is back to its normal good old deal. It doesn't take away the threat transferred anymore. This was rough. Keeping the threat was kind of rough. I noticed I was using my mass grip a bit more. Whatever the hell they call that thing. Again, I don't play one on live. This was just me testing the tank. And I do have a buddy that plays one live, and it's their main class. They're top dog with it. So I'm sure I'll get a lot of critic reviews from him. But this is a fun spec, guys. They did end up taking a lot of the boringness away. It is a fun spec. The extra button with Morrowind, you wouldn't think it would do that much, but it does. They do have a talent under the artifact itself that's made for Death Coil, but Death Coil is no longer part of the Blood DK spec anymore. At least I could not find it anywhere. I looked through every edge of that spellbook and I couldn't find this thing. So they've still got a couple things that need to be fixed and tweaked, but for the most part, this thing's fun to play. It's ungodly overpowered right now. I mean, this was probably some of the easiest runs that I had, especially on the Arcway here. We did not finish this. We ended up running into a server restart, and then just had some issues with DCing and so on and so forth, so we just cut it early. But we did get a couple bosses in here to show you the difference. And you'll see on this next upcoming boss, too. What we have here is a fairly simple mechanic boss, and I don't take a lot of damage. I'm able to pick up these pools and do the extra damage. The only problem that Death Knights have in this situation for this boss, yeah, we can muscle through this cleansing ability here, but we only have one escape, and that's that new Wraithwalk that they put in. Other than that, I noticed I could not run out of this thing. I had to use a cooldown and actually eat it. As you can see, I'm trying to get out, I just couldn't, so I just popped anti-magic shell and ate it. AMS for the win right there. There was nothing else I could do. I could not run out of this thing, but it seemed like rotating those two, I was able to actually get out with Wraithwalk with one, and then, I just decided, hell, I'm going to sit here and eat it and see how much damage it is. Again, this is a level 110 normal dungeon. It is still alpha, but it wasn't doing that much damage. I don't think the tank really needs to run out unless they're one of the more squishy tanks. But the mobility's rough. If you're stuck in the middle while he's casting that thing, you will not get out without some sort of speed adjustment. And the pull itself, the closer you are, the harder it pulls you in. So, really, guys, not that hard. Now, this guy, if you watched my Vengeance Demon Hunter and you watched my Monk videos, I did end up having this guy on both of them. And he wrecks the crap out of tanks. Not so much here. He does do some damage, but he doesn't hurt me as bad as he should have. Again, I mean, a lot of self-healing. I was doing about 50% of the monks healing in my healing alone, just to myself, and it's absolutely insane. I mean, you can see we lost one person from a simple mechanic who tried to run through the purple stuff. Stay out of the pools on the ground, guys. That's basic. Now, the first part of this thing, no issues at all. None whatsoever. You can see stacks are good on Morrowind. But when this guy starts speeding up and he starts hitting me in his face too, I noticed I was having trouble keeping the bone shields up with Morrowind, and I wasn't able to death strike as much. So the gameplay there was really decisive on, okay, which active mitigation do I want to use? Do I want to heal up, or do I want to increase my rune regeneration and toss another set of bone shields on me and reduce my overall damage? Obviously, I went with the latter, reduced damage and bone shield. You know, that's increased rune regeneration. That's going to mean that I'm going to get to do more death strikes down the road anyways. So it seems like Morrowind's going to be the main part. And again, I really want to say thank you guys. I appreciate you. I know we've kind of ended here abruptly, but this is a good call for it. The fight is amazing. The Death Knight is amazing, and it's seeming like a very strong tank going into the alpha build, except for mobility. Nothing new there. Same exact thing. And again, guys, thank you for watching.